let's do some application questions requiring us to use some equations. So, like question 1, they're going to give us a worded form of a question, and we're going to try to convert that to an algebraic equation. So watch how we do this. So starting with question 1, let's read it together. It says 5 times a number is the same as 4 more than 3 times the number. Find the number. So the number that we want is unknown, isn't it? So I'm going to let the number be x. So with algebra, trying to let what you're looking for be the pronumeral. So I'm going to let the number that we're looking for be x. Now I'm just going to use x. We usually commonly use x. Okay, so starting with the first part, it says 5 times a number. The number that we're going to be using is x. So I'm going to be making it 5 times x, which is just 5x. You don't have to write the multiplication sign. Just write 5x for me, guys. Now, look at the next part of the question, guys. It says is. Is means equal to. In algebraic form, it's a symbol for equal to. So that's is. Now, the next part says 4 more than. 4 more than something. So what I'm going to do is leave a little space for that something and make it plus 4. So 4 more means adding 4 on top, isn't it? So I did plus 4. Now the next part says 3 times. 3 times the number. The number is x. So 3 times x is just 3x. So see how it says 4 more than 3 times? So 3 times x plus the 4. So that's why I'm putting 3x here. It doesn't really matter if you put 3x, you add 3x at the end, but it just makes a little bit more sense for the question, isn't it? So that's what I did there. Now let's solve it. So when we're solving algebraic equations, guys, it's a good idea to gather your like terms. Now see how there's 5x here and 3x here? What I'm going to do is try to gather them up together. So I'm going to try to move all the x's on the left hand side. In order to do that, I have to get rid of this 3x on the right hand side, isn't it? So I'm going to be subtracting that 3x, but if you do subtract, you have to do the same thing on the left hand side as well. You have to do the same thing on both sides. So I'm minusing 3x here, and I'm also subtracting 3x here. And then if I subtract 3x, these will just eliminate and become 0. So on the right hand side, we'll just have 4, and you can see that 5x minus 3x is 2x. So we've simplified our equation a little bit. Now, because we just want x, we have to try to eliminate the 2 as well. If we divide this side by 2, the 2 and the 2 would cancel out, won't they? But make sure, if you're dividing 2 on the left-hand side, you're going to do the same thing on the right-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2. And you can see that the 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so it's 1x, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we've got the number x, which is 2. So you can conclude by saying the number is 2. Alright guys, it's a good idea with these worded application questions to give yourself a little summary, just to summarize everything and you put it in back and towards the context. So the number is 2. Alright guys, see how I did that? And one thing I want you to always remember, if you do something to one side, you're going to do the exactly same thing to the other side. Then the equation will balance. Alright guys, let's do some more. Let's do question 2 now. When a number is doubled and 8 is subtracted, the result is 4. Find the number. Okay guys, if you guys can try, have a go by yourself and see if you can write the equation. I'm going to do it on the board as well. Okay, so when a number is doubled, so again we're looking for that number. So I'm going to let the number be x. I'm going to start by doing that. We know what the pronumeral will symbolize. It symbolizes the number. So if we let the number be x, it says when a number is doubled and 8 is subtracted from that number, then it's going to be 2x, see 2 is double of that number. 2 means we're doubling it, and that's what they want. So I double the number by multiplying x by 2, and then it says subtracting 8. So we're subtracting 8 from that number. The result is 4. So that result, so I use equal, is equal to 4. Now let's try to solve our equation. Again, we have to gather the like terms together. I've got my x on my left hand side, so these constants I'm going to try to group together. So in order to get rid of this negative 8 on this side, I'll have to add 8, won't we? So make sure you add 8 to both sides. So negative 8 plus 8 will just eliminate. 4 plus 8 is 12. And because these 8's have been eliminated, we've only got 2x left. Now because we want just x, not 2x, we have to try to get rid of the 2. To get rid of the 2 here, because 2 is multiplied to x, we have to do the opposite notation. Divide by 2. And again, you can see that I did it to both sides. So 2 divided by 2 will be 1, so we just have 1x, which is just x, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. So we've got x now, we can't go any further. So therefore, you can conclude by saying that the number is 6. Alright guys, let's see how I work through that algebraically. Let's do question 3. When the sum of a number and 5 is doubled, the result is 16. Find the number. So, you've got to be careful here guys. I'm going to utilize some brackets. And first of all, I'm going to let the number be x again. And if you're getting sick of x, you can use any other pronumeral you like. I'm just going to stick to x. Okay, it says when the sum of a number and 5. So when the sum of the number and 5, that whole big bunch is doubled. So, to make that bunch, I'm going to use brackets. Sum of the number, x, and 5, says in the question, the sum of the number and 5, that number is doubled. So I group that by putting into a bracket, and then I multiply it by 2. So I put the 2 at the front. That indicates multiplication. The result is 16. As the question says, the result is equal to 16. Alright guys, now to get rid of the brackets guys, we have to expand. So this 2 out the front, you expand it with the x, so you multiply it with the x, and you also multiply it with a positive 5. So 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, it's positive 10. Now this side stays at 16. So now we've got rid of the brackets, we can now do the continuous algebraic steps. So, I've got my x here, and I want to try to group the constants together onto the right hand side. So in order to get rid of the 10, I'll have to subtract away 10. But I'd also do that to the other side as well. That's something you must not forget. And because I subtracted 10, these two will eliminate, and only the 2x will be left on the left-hand side, and 16 minus 10 is simply 6. Now, let's get rid of the 2, because we just want x. Because 2 is being multiplied to x, we'll have to now divide by 2. And again, do it to both sides. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we just have 1x, which is just x, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we can conclude by saying the number is 3. Alright guys, I want you to always do this conclusion as well. And also, make sure don't forget to do everything on both sides of the equation.